In today's story for Revelations That Came Too Late, a Connecticut mom tweeted, "Why did I have a child?" She was convicted of suffocating her 8-year-old to death and then setting her home ablaze. Might have been a little late in the revelation on that one. Also, she dealt with the question, "Why did I have a child?" with fairly extreme measures, but okay, let's learn a little bit more about this story. A 44-year-old Connecticut woman may spend the rest of her life behind bars for killing her 8-year-old son inside of her home, which she then set on fire. The New Haven, Connecticut jury on Wednesday found Karen, her name is literally Karen, Zawoski guilty on 1 count of murder and second-degree arson in the 2016 death of young Elijah Zawoski, prosecutors had announced. Pictured here is a Karen who decided to take her problems up with the manager in the form of setting the house on fire. According to a press release from the New Haven State Attorney's Office, prosecutors at trial showed evidence that Zawoski on the evening of November the 14th of 2016 suffocated her son in the residence located on Davis Street. She then intentionally set 2 fires, one in her bedroom and another in the basement, using fluid from a tiki torch to start the blaze. Upon arriving at the scene of the fire, first responders got Elijah out of the burning home, but were unable to resuscitate him. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner performed an autopsy and determined that the boy's manner of death was homicide and cause of death was asphyxiation, as well as acute intoxication from a deadly amount of antihistamine of Benadryl. Wow. So she had this thing planned. She gave her son a deadly amount of Benadryl to cause him to be sleepy and tired so that he would fall asleep. So then she could murder him and set him ablaze. Wow. The medical examiner also concluded that Elijah had died prior to the house fire, which is why it's second-degree arson, incidentally. Zawoski reportedly was hospitalized with severe smoke inhalation from the fire she set and treated. Investigators also discovered a series of disturbing social media posts that she posted prior to the killing. For example, on November the 10th, and just by way of reminder, this thing happened on November the 14th. So 4 days prior to the event, she tweeted the term fire extinguisher, devil's playground, and as well as hashtag take that as you will, according to a warrant. 1 day later, she tweeted the phrase empty promises, followed again by take that as you will, and on November the 12th tweeted, "Why did I have a child?" And then 2 days later killed the child. Guys, if you see yourself spiraling this deep, get help. Go to the hospital and get help. Seemed like she was cooking for a little while there and decided to resolve that by, yeah, okay, that's great. Authorities did not arrest Zawoski until October 2017. She was taken into custody in North Carolina, where she moved following the death. According to the Hartfield Courant, the warrant stated that she was in the throes of depression and struggling with marital issues. Again, as a person who deals with depression, I understand a little bit, but maybe get some help. If you're this depressed, maybe go to the hospital. Just some thoughts. Zawoski and her stepmother reportedly told investigators that Zawoski's husband was verbally abusive to her. How verbally abusive could he possibly be at this point? She reportedly filed for a divorce, but the case was dismissed by lack of diligence just a few weeks before she killed Elijah. So that's something you don't see every day. She filed for divorce, but the case was thrown out of court for failure to prosecute. So she filed for divorce and then failed to follow up. Like, you can't just file for divorce and then divorce granted. There are other steps along the way. And she didn't pursue those steps. And, it's a civil case, and eventually the judge will be like, okay, dismissed for failure to prosecute. So her divorce petition was dismissed. And I suppose okay, wow. Our thoughts are with the Elijah family at this time, and we hope this verdict eases some of the suffering we have. I imagine husband might be filing his own divorce petition right about now. The New Haven state attorney said in a statement following the verdict, we'd like to also extend our appreciation to the police, firefighters, and EMT, as well as the Division of Scientific Services and the Chief Medical Examiner. Though they are trained to handle investigations involving death of children, we know this can take a toll. Zawadzki is currently scheduled to appear before a judge on January the 10th, 2023. Because she was convicted of a Class A felony, the defendant faces a sentence of 25 years to life in Connecticut. Yeah, I imagine she'll be serving more than 25 years, so yeah. And also with the arson, probably going to be consecutive, I'd imagine, so she might get out of jail when she's old, but meh. Let's wrap this up. Thus, that brings us to the end of the story of the Connecticut mom who apparently tweeted, "Why did I have a child?" Well, I don't know. And maybe the best thing for you is to get a divorce and, try to find yourself or go get help or something. I don't know. But murdering the child after doping him up with Benadryl to make him sleepy, which is also, by the way, fatal in and of itself, and then setting the house ablaze is no way to go through life. So she's been found guilty of this. She's facing 25 years to life for the murder, plus arson. So probably going to jail. She's 44. So she's, looking at, maybe she'll get out of jail someday when she's really old and gray. But for the moment, that brings us to the end of discussion of this story.